So for myself, the first three things that I always advocate when I was making my clothing brands and when I would run into other people making clothing brands is attempt using drop shipping first, or like some form of pre-sales and stuff, right? So that you're not, you're not sending out all your money and like investing in something that you're not completely confident and sure about. You can use templates. Another thing that I always shared with people was that it's nothing wrong with not knowing how to draw. Like a lot of people be like, because I can't draw or I'm not an artist, I can't create clothing. And it's like, well, there's something that you draw inspiration from. You could start there, right? Just start with that. Whether it's like, I know some people not overlook, some people don't like the idea of using like, let's say you like Mighty Ducks or something, right? And then you throw Mighty Ducks on a shirt. It's like, all right, just don't sell it, right? But you can learn the process that way. You can learn more about the business by going to get yourself a shirt made, just stand there over top of your shoulder and learn something, right? And then thirdly, I always used to think about how if you're going to spend all that money at somebody else's store, why you don't got your own thing, right? Not because like, everybody don't have to make clothes. Right. Mind you, everybody did used to make their own clothes. Right. We were all tailors and had to make our own clothes.
Right, for sure.
But shouts out to we can go pick up something that looks nice from somebody else's idea. Mm-hmm. So it's like, but then there's a point where it's like, you haven't invested anything in your idea or your visions and stuff, and you didn't spent it all with someone else. Mm-hmm. So that's what I usually try to advocate or like lead people in the show. And it's like, okay, I could spend $150 on one YSL, one Gucci shirt, right, or I could put $75 on some T-shirts, and I could put $75 down on the printing, and I could walk out with like 5 or 10 pieces, right? And so, what are some things that like on your journey? You don't gotta do 3, but just like a list of things that you've noticed on your journey that like you would offer to someone who's just getting started.
I guess my first thing would be like, I think of this intangible like that the blueprint. And I feel like it's a fine line between just going, and you gotta go, but just like being able to see as far as you can see. So it's like, I don't care if I can only see a month ahead, but it's like, whether it's a month, whether it's a year, 5 years, it's just like being able to have that blueprint together. So I'm big on just like anything I ever started. It's like, that's like, you're gonna start a partnership. We're gonna sit down and come to harmony, come to agreement. You know what I'm saying? Come up with some harmony to come up with a business partnership and foresee as far as we can and just see all those details. And of course, things will come up as we go.
Yeah, but at least you started with something. Right?
So for me, that's I feel like that's huge for me. And just like I was just talking to, I have a niece who I was just talking to yesterday with her sister's looking to start a business, and she's looking to get going. And she called on me to like
consulting now.
Yeah, it's crazy because like
consulting.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, so. But yeah, just like that conversation of like being able to see as far as you can see, just being able to see little things like expenses, like they say, know your numbers. Mm-hmm. Where it's like they're saying like, you don't know your numbers, it's like you're dead in a sense. Yeah. So for me, all that kind of go into that vision of that blueprint. Yeah. So I look at that as one like major, to me, a foundational thing, So and then I guess I think about. I guess I'm going to these intangible things, man, because I think about...
I'm happy you are.
Yeah.
People don't talk about it because they're intangible, so people try to skate away from those.
Yeah, right, for sure. Because I think, again, I mentioned earlier, like the thing of like being still enough to listen to myself to be true to what my authentic voice.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, that's Rare Souls. That's what I feel like. I feel like that's what our brands are. And it's like, can I listen to that? Can I listen to my authentic voice consistent enough to, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's, to me, the foundation, another part of the foundation to like creating and doing what we love. Because I feel like now if we look into, again, like I was saying with embroidery, where it's like, I wanted to find the right relationship with embroidery. And the first relationship I had with the embroidery shop that's not what went down. Okay. But it was just like, it was a process. But again, it's like I'm going off of that energy. And it's like, I'm not going just not act on something. Like I said, my guy gave a recommendation. I'm just like, all right, let me check them out. And it's like, all right, I appreciate what they did, but this is not the connection I'm going for. So it's like me, it's just like I'm gonna be true to that, even if that's gonna mean me stopping something or slowing down on something.
I didn't be able to do that.
Yeah, or if I can't create for 3 months or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? I feel like we got the ability not to to always have unlimited, you know what I'm saying, one way or
Mhm.
another. But that to me is clutch because now I'm gonna move on my clock.
Yeah.
So people say, "Oh, you should be doing this. Why you ain't doing this? Why you ain't here yet? Why you ain't there? Why you ain't?" And it's just like this is moving. So this is what I feel like, right? Even if it's not necessarily the best thing for me, I'm gonna move off of that energy and listen to myself, and even move when I feel like it's uncomfortable for me to move, but I feel like I'm meant to move.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. You know what I'm saying? So to me,
Absolutely.
yeah, being able to listen to that voice consistently enough, and I feel like these different elements of the self mastery is what helps us just going within, looking in that mirror helps us be more on that higher frequency to make those decisions moment after moment.
Yeah.
And so for me, I guess that's the second one.
Yeah.
You know, that's two. But
I'm gonna say you ain't gotta do three.
yeah, right. But yeah, those two things that I think about, they're the main things, man.
Yeah, and I'm happy you mentioned that because the blueprint, and you're not literally meaning like architecturally,
right.
but like hitting all the points, right? Not,
Yeah.
Like when you're the architect, it's your job. You draw up a thing, you pass it to some other people, and then that's your job.
Indeed.
When you're saying architected, it's like, nah, you got to go to Lowe's too.
Indeed.
You got to go see the screw sizes.
Sure,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
Architecting and blueprinting the whole thing, especially if you're going. That's just if you're doing a dolo.
Mm-hmm.
But especially if you're going to do a partnership, right? You
Absolutely.
definitely want to do that. And then, like you mentioned, with the listening to your authentic voice consistently, it's like inside. It's like we talked about it a little bit. Is like that's not easy. It's like you might hear it, and then when something like a distributor or a manufacturer that was a part of that comes along, having that strength to say, "Damn, this isn't what I'm going for," and like accepting that things are going to be disrupted. Because like I had a space, and I probably kept that space at least 12 to 18 months longer than I initially wanted to be there because I didn't want to be disrupted. I was so much more afraid of the disruption than seeing like all of what I could have been doing if I just would have gone for what I felt the strongest about in the first place. So that's like, you're right. Those two things are super important to mention. And then, so I talk a lot. I talk to people about consistency and authenticity and collaboration. So we'll end on that note, just so I can get your feedback and ideas and thought processes on it, right? And we talked a lot about consistency and authenticity. So what are the results? Well, I'll start off, right? What I've noticed are the results with not being consistent and authentic normally comes with a big weight of like emotional and mental health problems. Right? Like beyond just the business stuff or, building relationships, like it takes a toll on your psyche and your emotions. You start not trusting people, you don't trust yourself, and then it starts developing into even things that you would like to be a part of, you can't show up for them because you have to practice it, right? The self-mastery is like knowing what you're capable to commit to, right? Self-mastery might look like I eat hot, spicy foods, and self-mastery might look like I can't, right? My esophagus don't do that, right? And accepting when you in the Spanish restaurant that you can't go where he go and do what he do, right? But you're still going to find your own experience in there. Maybe you're rocking out to the tequila or something, right? But it's like that self-mastery is cool because you can start really just pushing yourself around or being pushed around in things that you don't want to do. And I'll segue that into like the collaboration part is like, Will talked about it on Morning Coffee today. He said, and everybody knows
I was just thinking it as you said it. I think I saw it earlier.
Yeah, it's like you can go fast alone and you can go further with community. And he was also talking about how, or somebody in the comments mentioned it, and he just expounded on it, which was we have this daring individualism when the majority of the world fosters their identity through community. Right? When you're in a community, you know what you serve, you know who you align with, y'all agree on shit. Even if you don't agree on stuff, they're going to hold you accountable to do it better. So it's like, that's how you can find your identity the quickest, right? Knowing what your role is and your strengths and your weaknesses are versus isolating, sitting in your room by yourself, finding all the dark rooms to sit in the corners and just like trying to meditate it out on your own with no guidance. That's going to be harder. You know what I mean? It's not that you can't get there, but it's like it's gonna take a toll on you when it's like somebody could have probably. I know a lot of times when I go out with people, I'm like, how can we split this cost, like whether it's going over the bridge, a literal toll. It's like, okay, well, you drive and I got the toll, right? Or I'm driving, you get the toll, like deliberating and delineating tasks and stuff like that. So like, those are the two things I wanted to highlight, like with not incorporating consistency and authenticity in your lives. And then it's like, imagine having to be consistent at something that you're not authentically, right? Like I see that a lot, especially like I'm driven by hip hop. I'm super inspired by hip hop, and that's what I started noticing why I got in the industry, because I'm like, man, if I'm not trying to die over no hit record, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then you start finding out a lot of these cats is clearance. They're not even shooters for real. So it's like, that's unfortunate that they had to put themselves in that position that had that opportunity. So what are some things like that you would like to add and talk to the people about in terms of consistency, authenticity, and collaboration? Those three things, right? Because like that's my shit.
That's beautiful. You even said it, man. It's like, because I feel like you spoke to me and just like everything you said, every point. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, because I done been in a place where there's plenty of places I wanted to go and didn't go because of my lack of consistency or just taking on too many things or whatever like that. So it's just like, I look at it like, well, first I guess I'm gonna go to, that's what basketball did for me. Like basketball, being a part of a community, that was my first time being a part of like a true community and being held accountable.
Yeah, I played basketball too. So like you said, that team working element is
so
it's woven in.
Come on. So we used to have, I think it was 5:30, you might say maybe like 5:30 in the morning workouts. By myself, I'm not really a morning person. So now by myself, I know me, my strengths. I'm not getting up for no 5:30 a.m. workouts by myself. But for my team, I don't care if I slept 2 hours. I'm accountable to my team, and we're gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? So I love that. Like I feel like that community and just being able to, just being able to work together. So for me, that was always like, again, the foundation. Like when we talk about rare souls, it's just like that's the foundation to me. Like, and it's like, and it, of course, it's work. Like I think I heard the saying, like it take on average 5 to 10 years to like build your right team, your proper team, and it's like. To me, so the work that goes into that, like the work we talking about goes into self-mastery. It's just like the work that goes into connecting with the right people, and a lot of it is mirror work itself, and it's just easier to attract the proper team over time. So I feel like just the work that goes into that, like I fight so much to be, to create a community, to work together, to collaborate, but it's like in them genuine collaborations, but it's like, again, that work of being consistent with myself. The more I be consistent with myself, the easier, more effective, more fluid that is to create genuine collaboration with these people that's really looking to and long term. And just like, so for me, it's like, I feel like, they all go hand in hand. I feel like that question is so, like, to me, like so vital that everything around it is so vital. And just like, the more consistent I be myself, the more I go within, it's easier for me to be authentic and true to myself. So now I'm going to do the same to you. Now I'm comfortable with you drilling me and holding me accountable for anything. I'm willing to be put in the same
I didn't get no sleep, man. I was on some this and that, right? It's like, you know it.
Indeed. So it's like, I love that, and I love running towards that. Like they say, you run towards harmony. Disharmony, then you create harmony. So it's like, I'm looking to run towards that disharmony every day and being consistent and looking in the mirror consistently to be true to myself, and be true to others. And I feel like it's easier to collaborate and find and attract the right collaborations and build. And I feel like my thing of like doing that with self, doing that with my family, doing that with my homies, and then we all do that. They do that with their homies, and they just keep
that part right. When they start doing it, that's when they go crazy. Right?
And I love the challenge of that. You know what I'm saying? To be able to say, all right, we're doing the work. Now let's do this. Let's keep. Come on. Can we really do it? Like they don't see us. I feel like having a community. You look at like a Chinatown.
Yeah.
That's for us. That's like that ain't gonna happen for us. I love the challenge of like seeing something like that or even pushing towards that. And I feel like everything that you spoke to, we need all that. Like that's the foundation: consistency, authenticity, collaboration.
That'll at least foster some healing, right? Like you might get to something even greater.
Yeah.
I know that's going to foster a lot of healing.
For sure.
So, and you know, shouts out to that basketball reference too. Like,
Ooh.
for all my basketball, you know somebody when you play basketball with them.
Yeah.
Lord knows you'll know somebody. So
Sure.
we'll tie this up with that, right? So just some basketball talk. Like, I was hurt when they kicked that man LeBron out of the playoffs. I was hurt. I was hurt because I'm like, I grew up off this. I want to see him get this. Right? I want to see him get his ring, shut down the haters, live the legacy, bring Bronny in. Like, this was scripted. I want this. But then it didn't work. Right? It didn't work. So, but then I was talking to my mans about Jokic.
Yeah.
That's amazing for him as well. He represents a whole country. He's he's Obama of I don't know exactly. Czech Republic. I don't know which country he's from. Slovenia. No, that's
Serbia. But
Serbia. No, it could be, right? But that's my point. Where he's from, and ain't that what everybody wants? You want to be revered from your hometown. I'm doing Newports and News because I'm from Newport News, Virginia. I want people to know about where I'm from. So I had to like get off of my personal desires to recognize like that man just put on a whole country. He put on a whole country on his back and said, I gotta represent. He had something to fight for. And then, you know, Jamal Murray, the whole squad, it's like 5-10 years ago, the Nuggets was not anybody's top pick for NBA. It was not the vibe, right? So, like, what I took away from this NBA season, even watching John Morant go through what he went through and how his community responds to that, our community. I don't want to take myself out of that, but it's like, just seeing this NBA season, it showed me that when LeBron leaves, there's going to be a big gap for who they're going to be able to create that market share and that visibility for the league. So they're working it out now. Giannis, Jokic, John Morant. They're like, who carrying this? Even if it's gonna be 5 of y'all. Like, what's the play on what we're presenting the league as?
Right.
And so the second takeaway I took was organizationally. Right, I always tell the story about James Nolan, the owner for the Knicks. He's the CEO of Madison Square Garden as well. He don't care if they win. He doesn't plan on using the money that he makes in a season to go grab better players or improve a facility or hire better. That's not what he don't care about. It. He's a businessman.
Right.
So he's like, and the Knicks is the second most profitable franchise in the league underneath the Lakers.
Yeah.
So, like, what did you gather? Those are just some things I gathered. Feel free to comment. You know what I mean? Tell me what y'all think about the NBA and things like that. And then, like, even outside of the NBA or anything that you've caught about basketball this year, what would you like to share? Just some sentiments that you kind of came through to.
I didn't watch as much as I wanted to. I caught a bunch of highlights. Me and my homies.
No, me too. I didn't watch any of the season. Yeah, I watched highlights. This is strict. Everything I did just now was highlights.
Indeed.
Right.
Indeed. Because I told my guy that he like, you know, highlights.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So he's like, you HOH, boy. I'm like,
yeah, this year I was.
But I just feel like, man, just seeing the whole process, like you said, just seeing to me over just the years and just like the progression of where the NBA is at, and just the world being smaller now in a sense, in a metaphorical sense, it's just like the NBA being so global. Just like that thing, like you said, Jokic, where it's like that process of like there wasn't many foreign players in the league, and then it was like the USA games wasn't even close to competitive.
Come on.
Now it's just like
ball up.
Ball up. It got real. So it's just like just seeing that direction of just understanding it's a business as well. It's I guess it's the gift and the curse, man. Because I look at like I love basketball.
The game.
I love the game. I love it. And it's like I respect the business though, but it's like it's tough when you got, you know, both sides come with it.
I mean, the business we've seen at this point, none of them owners are feverish basketball enthusiasts. They're businessmen.
Indeed.
So the game is always normally compromised by the business elements. Like if the game was just full of hoopers, it looked different. Yeah. I mean, it's not. It's full of people who can role play. Right. People who can show up publicly on camera. Right. People who are willing to publicly demonstrate themselves on camera a specific way. It's like there's a lot that goes into how you can maintain your position there.
Yeah,
so I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and I feel like over time, where it's like because it's so bigger now, the business is more. Because I feel like when you had like, of course, you got different eras, and I appreciate all eras, but it's just like it was, you know, I guess more like people argue about these different eras.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where it's
Yeah.
like when you look at Jordan and them in the 80s and that era where it's like 80s, 90s, where it's like it was like they said about Jordan. If you had to hear that story where they didn't know how well he was going to do as a rookie.
I've heard that story.
You heard that story where it was like Nike was just like, this is your requirements.
Yeah, and then
it was
he snapped on them.
Yeah, and it was just like, but it was like, it was so pure with far as it was closer to purity of just them playing.
Yeah,
Okay. Was, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like,
that was the metric.
Yeah.
That was the metric.
Yeah.
The points, the analytics of the actual game which you played.
Yeah.
Now it's like, what are you doing on social media?
Yeah, right. Brian ESPN up. Like, I remember when they used to report basketball.
Yeah. No, this is a fact.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I appreciate that.
No.
So we're going to get out of here. If y'all definitely want to see my man's back, I mean, let me know what we should talk about, when we should have him back. I'm always open to, building with you more.
Respect.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you close out this episode, right? And so